Friends, this is the Paper Chef here. Welcome to part one of my Jingle 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 workshop series. In this series, we're going to be creating lots of cards and 3D projects to get us ready for the holiday season, and some tags as well. In today's tutorial, you're going to learn how to create this jolly card. We're going to be using the stamp set, different colors of ink that coordinate with our designer series paper, which I'll go over when we use them, the deckled rectangle dies. These are the three deckled rectangle dies we'll be using. They celebrate everything designer series paper, which I'll go over when we're about to cut it. Granny apple green cardstock because it's a coordinating color. Some of these little stars, which I just pulled out. They're called here we go. Well, they're not in their package, but you know me, I'm always a hot mess. But these are the little adhesive back stars. We'll be doing some bling on there. We're going to do a little blending around the edges with the pool party blending brush, some pool party ink. Okay, so there's lots of techniques in this and all my workshops. Stick around until the end because I'm going to show you a couple more cards created with a couple different kinds of dies. I'm going to show you what's in this bag, which is one of my swaps from my friend Kathy. I'm going to show you the cards I created on World Card Making Day, which was Saturday. If you missed World Card Making Day, there's a video of the almost 3-hour recording, and it's linked below this video. Go like that, right below the video. There's a little arrow. I'm going to point over this side. Click down. You'll get a description of the video, and it'll say World Card Making Day replay, and you can watch the replay of World Card Making Day. And I have a couple more announcements, and then we'll get started right away. I still have my Rustic Harvest workshop series going on, and we created these in the last video. So if you missed the sticky note holder, go ahead and watch the Rustic Harvest workshop series. I believe that was part 6. And these are what we made in part 6. I'm going to finish up with part 7 this week sometime, and then move on to just concentrating on the Christmas Jolly Jolly Jolly. But I did need to conclude this series. I wanted to tell you that. Okay, I'm back closer to the microphone now. What I wanted to also tell you is that on October 4th, and I'm just going to get things ready as I talk to you, because I don't like to waste any time. On October 4th, it is a free shipping day at Stampin' Up! On orders of $75 or more in the U.S. If you're in another country, the price, it might be different to get free shipping on a different amount. But in our country, it is $75 or more. So, therefore, it is a good time to get those deckled rectangles, right? These are in the annual catalog. You can just Google them. I'm not going to sit and hold on the page. It's a good time to get the stitched rectangle dies. They're a classic, something that you could really use all the time. Okay, stitched rectangles look like this. We're going to be using these throughout the series. Decorated rectangles look like the ones I just showed you. Oop, that's a different kind of die. Oops, that just went on my floor. And deckled rectangles look like this. There's 8 of them in a package. Okay. It's a good time to get those things because free shipping on $75. And of course, if you get those 2 things and the Jingle Jingle Jingle, your order will be 80 something. I didn't really do the math. I just did it quickly in my head. But Jingle Jingle Jingle, you get that. You get the deckled rectangles, you get the stitched rectangle, and you get free shipping, which is like saving 11%. So it's a good day to do that on October 4th. Also a good day to start joining my team. Okay, what I'm going to do, because there's a joining special, and I'll be announcing that again in my newsletter. So if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, go to my website. I'll go to my store, paperchef.stampinup.net. Right down and below, in the description is the link. Sign up for the newsletter, and you'll find out about that joining special. All right, let's do this. Let's make the card. We're going to let's just talk about this card for a moment. It's a I would say it's a landscape orientation. It's going this direction, right? So it's horizontal card. So you're like, well, it doesn't look like you're cutting horizontal. Well, I am because I'm going to cut it after I score. So I'm taking my Simply Scored, and I'm going to go out to the 4 1/4 mark because this cardstock is 8.5 by 11. I'm going to score down at the 4 1/4 mark. Let's just go ahead and make 2 sets of cards, shall we? Because that's how I roll. Let's go ahead and you should be using the smaller side of the scoring tool, not the larger side when you're scoring cards. Okay, so that is 4 1/4 because it's 8.5 wide. Now, that's all I need the scoring tool for. Now, I didn't really need the Simply Scored. I just like using the Simply Scored. I'm in the middle of creating a very in-depth card making course right now with a fun fold, and I am using it constantly for these cards. It's a little sneak peek of what I'm working on in a big workshop. I'll release that on a few different platforms in different formats. So that if you're really into fun folds and you want to get into having the Simply Scored. Now, if you have this trimmer though, and that's all you have, it does have a scoring tool on it. So just use that to score your card. Go out to the 4 1/4 mark and score it. But I'm going to use this to cut because I use it to cut mostly, and I just use the others to trim. Now you're going to take your paper that you just scored, and you're going to turn it sideways, and now we're going to cut it at the 5 1/2 inch mark, which is halfway across. The paper is 11 inches. So go out to 5 1/2 and cut it in half, and we have 2 cards. Do that again. We're not going to make all 4 cards. I'm just going to go ahead and score them all for you. And do that again. 5 1/2. Boom, we're done. We've just made 4 cards. You're going to take, actually, while this is here, you're going to use the ledge of this because there's a little ledge here. I like to turn it around because there's a better ledge on that side. And that's where I like to do my creases along the ledge. So we scored down and it was a valley, and then we fold up like a mountain. So we scored down into the valley and we fold it up like a mountain. I repeat myself on purpose. Not because I'm kind of crazy, which that might be the case too, but I do repeat myself on purpose. Let's go ahead and open this up and use any kind of spatula or bone folder to crease down the edges. Okay. So we got that. We did that. I'm just going to go ahead and do that to all 4 while I'm here, even if we don't finish all 4 cards. Using that little ledge helps make your cards really look professional all the time. And they never get wonky. So if you ever got a wonky card from someone, it's okay. It means that they're a beginner. It doesn't matter. We encourage everybody. But you don't want to get it. You don't want to send someone a card and them think you're a beginner. You want to send someone a card and think you're a professional. Because you are a professional when you use professional crafting tools like this to make your cards. And professional techniques. Okay? So folding all these with this edge makes that difference. Makes a difference. Details matter. Okay, let's do this. All right, now let's talk about the deckled rectangles, and we just see which ones we need. We're going to use designer series paper in the background for the background layers, but I did use a rectangle for here, and I used different sizes of designer series paper in the back. I used 3 rectangles, 1, 2, 3, 3 of designer series paper. So let's go ahead and cut those with these shapes here. So if you want to know what size they are, or, you know, which ones, because there were 8 decorative rectangles. This is the one that's about, this is what the grid paper's for. The big one's about 5 inches. Let me go ahead and get a pencil. I'll do a pen and a pencil. Okay, this one is about, you know, and it's a little bit, it looks like a 5 1/4, so it's about out to here. So the largest one is about the 5 1/4 one. I'm just putting little nibs on there, or nicks on the paper. Okay, the next one is about, you'll see which ones though. It's going to be natural when you get these. This one's about 3 3/4. When you get these deckled rectangles, you'll know which ones to use because they're going to fit your sentiments perfectly. That's why I chose this set and the stitch rectangles to use for this project because they fit perfectly. All right, now it's just a matter of taking out your Stampin' trimmer. That's why I raised my camera pretty high up here. I mean, Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, sorry. And we're going to just do some die cutting with the deckled rectangles. I'm opening it up. It has a platform. It opens on both sides. Let me go ahead and get rid of all these jingle jingles and this fun card you're going to see later to make room on my table. We'll keep these here as a guide. All right, they're out of the way. Now we're going to take this trimmer. I guess I do need the trimmer because we're going to take this paper. It's really cool paper. It is called Celebrate Everything Designer Series paper. And this paper has many coordinating colors, including basic black, crushed curry, granny apple green, Pacific Point, polished pink, pool party, poppy prade, and shaded spruce. In this Celebrate Everything paper, we're going to use a piece like this. And you can see how it's double-sided. I'm just going to show you the other side as I flip through. And I'm going to flip through real quick. I'm not taking these out of the package. I'm just taking some out that'll be good for holidays. This piece here. You can see why it's called Celebrate Everything. Oh la la, we love this piece here too. This is a great one for these cards. Anything with little designs like that. And then you saw me use loads of these on my Halloween projects, on my paper pumpkin projects. You can see all these colors on the back too. One side is more pattern and more fun than the other side. This one we're going to use as well, but I already have a piece cut for this. Pacific Point. There's some pumpkins. There's some other cool patterns that you can use. There's some fall patterns we've used. In my brother's ScanNCut Fall Projects course, I use this a lot. This paper. This piece is great. We got 4th of July, fireworks. We got stripes. I already have a small piece of that. Some pink. Okay, so you get 48 sheets in a pack. This paper is free with your host rewards. So if you get your order up to like 180 on free shipping day, then you get that paper for free. 48 sheets of it as your host rewards. That's pretty cool, right? And free shipping. So it's a win-win. All right, I'm going to use the blade. It does look like the scoring tool, but I'm just going to use the blade and cut this in half. You need to cut your paper in half to get it to run through your die cutting machine. You can go ahead and cut 2 or 3 pieces at once with your deckled rectangles. I'm going to pull these other ones out I got earlier just to see what we're going to do now and show you about the patterns. So we need the little platform or the sandwich, the die cutting sandwich. We're going to use the base plate when you're die cutting, the thin die adapter, which is plate number 2. There's a diagram on here as a cheat sheet if you're not sure. You need a plate number 3 for the bottom, and you need a plate number 3 for the top. So what I thought would be fun is to whip out the new cutting plates in just a moment. Okay, but first let's use these older ones. Okay, we're going to whip out the new cutting plates. And you can turn the handle either way. Let me go ahead and turn it this way. So let's go ahead and put these here. Now, you want to just be aware, since you're making horizontal cards, that you want to be aware of which way you put the die through your paper. Or your die through your machine, I should say. On top of your paper's patterns on your paper. So let's look at this one for an example. Okay, this one I'm going to use maybe this part, so we'll put that over there. This one, and I'm just going to use one of these. I'm just going to cut a few at once. Okay, now, this one, I'm going to go ahead and put the big rectangle, right, on there. Okay, now it depends on what you're doing for your projects. This part is not going to be covered up, but you could sometimes get away with making little frames and cutting out these pieces, especially if you're going to be hiding this piece. But in this case, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and cut some down here with the new die. So we'll just use this die down here, and we'll go ahead and cut a couple sheets at once. But when you're going to use the dies, pattern I want to go horizontal. You could do something over here too. Just make sure everything stays on your cutting plate. So I'm going to push that up there. I'm going to go ahead and do one this way, just because I can fit them all on there. But you got to make sure your cutting plate is under there. And then put your top plate on top. But you want to put, oh, I might already have it under there. So you want to put one number 3 down there, right? And one number 3 should go on top. But make sure these don't touch each other, right? Because if they do, you can bend your metallic plates. If you lay this on top, it's translucent. You start seeing them touch each other. Don't go running it through, because all it'll do is bend your metal. Now it's going to be tight. And I have a little piece of tape here in case a little piece of tape to hold it. Ugh, that was tight because I did 3 pieces at once. I might go back to doing 2 just so I don't grunt on the camera. Okay, maybe it's entertaining if you guys hear me grunt on the camera. But you can see, should cut all 3 at once. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go back to cutting 2 at once, though. We have lots of deckled rectangles to use for our projects. Pretty cool. Let's put those over there. Put these over there. And these. And let's go ahead and cut a set with our new cutting plates, because I just thought it'd be fun. I didn't want to take out my new cutting plates for the course I'm working on. I thought it would be better to break them in first. You know why? Because it's practical. Because we don't ever use cutting plates that are brand new, except for one day, the first time. This is more like what my cutting plates typically look like. Nonetheless, they're starting to get warped, and it was time to get a new set. So this is what they look like when they come out of the package. Cutting plates, you get them in a pair. There's a little piece of tissue paper between them. So I want you to not worry about what happens to these the first time you use them. You're going to get a big old indent of metal into your plastic, and I want you to not worry about it because here I am doing this all the time, and I do not worry about it at all. This is a consumable product as far as I'm concerned. Not the machine isn't consumable. This plate is consumable. You get more plates when you need more plates. So let's go ahead and do 2 sheets at once. Oh, well, that was the same sheet anyway, so that's good. We're going to get rid of this stripe piece. I'm going to do these 2 sheets. Again, keeping in mind, we'll do a plate number. So we have the sandwiches, right? We saw the sandwich, reinforcement. We're going to put this there, and we're going to put that plate, and we're going to put this die horizontally because that's the way our pattern looks better, like that. We're going to do one like that and one like this. Okay, so don't let them touch. And here, this is the little trick for not letting them touch. So you put that little piece of tape right there at the intersection to keep them up from touching each other. And I put the top plate on and I crank it through. Hear that noise? Little bit of it here, cracking sound, especially when you first get plates. Don't be alarmed if you're new to die cutting and you hear that cracking sound. It's supposed to do that at the beginning until you start conditioning your plates. Voila. This one's going to make a little indent on the top a little bit, but for at least the beginning part, see, it made a little indent. I want to keep this as my top plate because it doesn't have the metal part grinding into it. So for at least a little while, this will be my top plate. Sometimes I even put a label called top. But for this now, from now on, this one's going to be my bottom plate because you'll see there's a little metal etching in it as soon as you use it. Okay, let's get these little. And I think we have enough to do our cards. I just might need some for this. I need that Pacific Point one. I'm not sure if I cut those yet. Okay, we have this piece, good. Oh, we did cut the Pacific Point. Oh, we're good. Let's see if we have the right size. We do. We have the right size. We have that cut. And we have one of these. Well, no, we need another one. See if we have one for the star. I think we do have enough. And if not, we improvise. So we have enough pieces cut. So let me show you what that plate looks like first time. It's maiden voyage through the machine, okay? One-time use, and sometimes the reason I want to show you this is sometimes my customers say, "Oh, I just bought a cutting plate and it's already messed up." No, it's not. It's not messed up. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. You're putting metal, you're cutting metal through plastic. I mean, hello. If it doesn't put a little etching on your plastic, then it wasn't tight enough, right? So that's what it's supposed to do. Don't worry about that because typically when I work, this is what my plates look like all the time, if not worse. And they start getting warped after a while. And that's why I said, look, it's starting to get warped. See how they're not staying like that anymore? And I said, it's time to break out the new cutting plates. So let's now put this machine off to oh no, we can't put it off to the side yet because we need to do the basic white. We always do our die cutting before well, this is me, not we. I should say me because there's no wrong way. But finding that. All right, let's cut a couple of these basic white ones out. Let's look at the jolly thing we're making here, the jolly thing, and that's this smaller one. 'Tis the season to be jolly, okay? I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple of these at a time, and I'll cut a couple of white ones while I'm here running this through for something else, for another project in the future. So let's go ahead and do a couple of these. So where was I? I was saying that we're going to have to do them in that direction here and like that. All right. You can stamp and then put this over. If you're cutting a stamped image, say, and you really needed to worry about the pattern, you could cut your stamped image. I mean, you could stamp and then put the die over it, tape it on, and run it through. But if I'm just working with sentiments where I'm going to be doing some inking around the edges, stuff like that, stamping onto them, I just much rather, this is just my personal opinion, I'd much rather make a load of shapes, whether I make it from my ScanNCut or whether I make it from my machine. I personally like to have a whole bucket of shapes on hand, which is how I roll. See, I like to have a whole bunch of these, and I like to stamp onto them later, afterwards. So scraps, that's what I save my scraps of paper for. And we're getting more little cuts on there. See that? No problem. We're happy about the cuts. They're supposed to be there. We're not thinking that we got a defected plate or that anything's wrong. We know that that's what's supposed to happen. Okay, let's go ahead and put that through so we have an extra one for cutting. And then I'm done with the machine, and then I can lower my camera a little bit for some stamping action. In case you don't know already, I like to take you through the whole process from start to finish during these workshop series and my courses and things like that. All right. We have all the parts we need. And we might need to get the trimmer back for a piece of, designer series paper to go behind a couple layers. We might not. We're just going to see how it goes. So let's just do the stamping first, because that's what you guys are probably wondering about. And let's get a silicone mat and all my ink. We'll get my little tray. Okay, we can start doing some stamping in here. All right. There's a little bit of, okay, so we're going to go like that, and we're going to open up polished pink, and we're going to stamp the Jolly using this longer stamping block called Stamping Block H. Okay, I'm going to lower this down. Oops, didn't mean to make you guys dizzy there. Just lowering the tripod a bit. And we're going to take off the photopolymer stamp. This is where I keep some extra crafty goodness in here. Jingle all the way, but we're going to do Jolly today. Okay, so we're going to, let's get the cards to look at, right? There are a couple different ways to stamp these, so let's leave this there for a moment. And let's get out this back one. I don't really like this method in particular, so I'm just going to show it to you anyway, though, because it's kind of popular. It's the two-step stamping, but I don't think they line up quite as much as I'd like them to. All right, what I'm going to do is put the flat side of my photopolymer stamp onto my silicone mat. Just sort of drop it so you're not trying to put it on here. If you're trying to put it on here, you might get it to go, you might not get it to go straight or whatever. But if you drop it down and the flat side is up, then you can mount it easier. It seems to go on there straight. Push down on your silicone mat. Now we're going to tap, tap, tap into the polished pink ink. I'm using polished pink. Here, let me show you that closer. Because it's a coordinating color of our Celebrate Everything Designer Series paper. Ooh, what a great stamp the first time. How awesome. I usually have to try a few times to get a good stamped image. So I like to stamp off onto my mat first. And then stamp onto. Okay, I need to leave room for 'Tis the Season to Be. So we're going to put Jolly down here a little bit. Okay, putting Jolly down there. Okay, so that's so far so good. Let's do a couple of these. Now, these are the ones I'm using for the cards because I prefer this method better. But I do want to show you now this other method of making like an outline for your stamps. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put that on there. So that's ready to stamp. But what you're going to do is put the outline first. So I'm going to use Jolly Green. I'm going to say Jolly Green Giant. I'm about to say Jolly Green Giant. Granny Apple Green. You're going to use Granny Apple Green ink. And we're going to go ahead and we'll just mount this one on here, but we have to do it diagonally. So go ahead and lay this one down. This one's the outline for Jolly. We're going to do it diagonally. Just because I don't have another one of those blocks handy. We're going to dip into the Granny Apple Green. And we're going to stamp onto the mat. Okay. So when you're trying to fill up a stamp, I think it's better to put the outline down first and then the inside. So put the outside and then the inside. Now, in this series, we're going to be using the blends, the Stampin' blends, to color in these letters. I think that's a better use of these empty letters. Trying to line this up into here is not a great use of these, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot in front of you anyhow. So I'm going to try to line these up. Now, of course, a Stamparatus, you're like, but Papered Chef, you have a Stamparatus. Of course I have a Stamparatus. But I'm not taking that out for this video. But see, it didn't really line up. Okay, let's try it the other way. Let's flip it around. See, we could do this one first. Probably because my stamp got so dark and it's hard to see through it. Okay, we'll do it that way first and then this. But if I recommend using your Stamparatus to line these up. Yeah, it's better to do the inside first. It has been a while since I've done these, so do the inside and then the outside because you could see through it. Okay, so that's cute, but I still like it better without it. I don't know, what do you think? Do you like it better with the outline or without it. And I mean, the effort notwithstanding, if it took you no extra effort, which it really didn't take extra effort, do you like it better with the outline or no outline? I'm personally like it better with no outline, but I'm going to use these outlines for coloring in with the stamping blends. All right, so that's all we need. We do need the jolly green. I want to say jolly green. We need the granny apple green for the 'tis the season. So we still need the 'tis the season part. So let's go ahead and take that off and put that over here for a moment. Now you can also use shaded spruce. So I took out the shaded spruce just to show you that it's a coordinating color. So don't feel like you have to have all the colors I'm using. There's many colors that will coordinate with this project. You could use Pacific Point. But I'm just going to go ahead and use 'tis the season to be, and I'm going to use the granny apple green. Okay, so you like it with the outline. I see that. Interesting. You guys like it with the outline more. All right, let's go ahead and, but you have the option because it's your stamp. Looking for the 'tis the season. Oh, I guess the best place to look would be inside the stamp set. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Where is it? Let's see. Here it is. 'Tis the season to be. It's kind of hard to read backwards. All right, you know what? I'm going to have to unmount. This is getting evicted. You're getting evicted. You're getting evicted. All right, there we go. Putting those over there. And we're going to go ahead and mount 'tis the season to be. And let me get and grab the baby wipe to get cleaned up this a little bit. I don't want to get polished pink on my granny apple green. Put that down there. All right, so 'tis the season to be jolly. Okay, let's go ahead and test it on our, yep, looks pretty good. But I also got to see if I'm writing upside down or right side up. So 'tis the season to be. All right, okay, now I can see that I'm not upside down. And now you're going to put it on the top. And this is real tight. It's a tight fit. Okay, kind of wobble it a little bit so you get your sentiment on there. Oh, I'm so happy. I get giddy with joy when I stamp the correct thing and don't have to start all over. All right, good, good, good. Let's do the next one. I mean, all you got to do to start over is flip it over and use the other side. Because after all, it's a deckled rectangle. When you have stitching, though, it's kind of hard. Wiggle it a little bit to get that sentiment to make sure it says everything. All right, good. We're done with the granny apple green. We're done with the polished pink. And now we're going to use the pool party for the inking around the edges. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And for the pool party, inking around the edges, whenever I use the Stampin' Blends, I like to put the ink on a stamping block. Then I like to tap, tap, tap onto the stamping block, get a little bit off so that you don't get the blob onto your paper. Start rolling around the edges like so. Circular motion. It doesn't look like much yet, but it will as we do this other edge. And when you put it on something, it adds that extra dimension. Tap, 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 blop, blop. Okay. And if it does get a blob on there, then you go darker. So, ooh, that's looking nicer darker, actually. So can you see that? How cool that is to have that extra dimension. Got a little bit darker on that side, so I just went with it and made it darker on all sides. You know, because you want to do sort of like the same thing on all the sides, just to be consistent. So you'll get in the habit of, after you get up first, like after you put a few blobs onto your basic white paper and you're like, oh, another blob, you'll get used to just getting in the habit of tapping off onto your paper. But it's no big deal. That's what embellishments are for, right? You can use those stars to cover any blobs. The stars are great. All right, so good. Nice. Good. Now we're going to do the second one. We're going to have to dip in and get some more ink. Oh, in fact, this is a good time to compare. Let's put it on something so you can see that. Why do that? And you're going to get to see why I do that. Okay? Look at the difference. Okay? You're giving someone a card. They go, ooh, wow, look at that nice little effect on the outside. And pool party is a great color to do this with. If you're going to use a darker color to do this with, you better get the color off, get it lightened up before you do it. So you just use one of your lighter colors. Pool party is my go-to color for doing the edging. Maybe sometimes I use petal pink if it's a coordinating color to my project, but in this project, petal pink would not have been a coordinating color. pool party fits right in with this celebrate everything paper. Okay, so I'm just doing a little circular motion. And you're like, well, wow, it looked like your blending brush was really dark. No, actually, you can get the ink off really easy of these blending brushes. It looks really dark until you wash it, but there's really not much ink on it. To clean it, you just rub it off on your mat. And you're good to go. But I do like leaving it there to see if I'm done. You know, to see, still need some on the, okay, did the right side, left side, I need some on the top. So sometimes I use another piece of paper just to put it on and go, oh, am I done? Is it even? Did I get enough? And you can also just tap on your silicone mat. You don't have to tap onto this mat. All right, time to layer up our card. You need dimensionals for this, some rolling adhesive like Seal Plus, something like that. All right. Go ahead and turn these over. I'm going to pop up this layer with dimensionals. So we'll put a couple big ones on the edges and a little one in the middle to keep it from drooping. A little one is a mini dimensional. The mini dimensionals aren't as high as these bigger dimensionals, but they do keep it from drooping. And it looks like, speaking of drooping, I'm running out of dimensionals, so we'll just use the edges of the pack. Okay. We'll put a couple there to keep it from drooping. This is the only part I'm popping up, because, you know, if you pop up too many layers, you're going to have to start paying extra postage. Because when things get to be 1/4 of an inch bigger, the mailman charges me 20 cents. Just because if it's too big and even too small, it was funny. My team member, Rita, sent me a little note card. And they charged her 20 cents because it was too small. And it was just a note card. And I'm like, oh, well, it should be cheaper if it's small. But they charged her 20 cents more if it's not a standard size. So what I'm looking for is this layer here. This one's a good one. We'll use one of these. Okay, flip that over. So I'm using one of the ones that has the pink on it. Polished pink, to be exact. And one of these that has, Granny Apple Green would have looked nice in there. But we'll go ahead and use the one that has the Pacific Point on it. Okay, and let's just move. Some of these that I'm not using, I'm just kind of putting off onto the side. I cut some extras while we were working through. So we'll do this one. Like these are all extras. This would have looked cute too as a background. This is extra. All right, layering. Did I take these off yet? Nope, I did take these off. You can use your pick tool to take these off, but I just use my hands because I'm in a video. It's quicker. All right, so anyway, point of the matter was don't make your cards too thick by putting a lot of embellishments and foamies unless you want to pay more. And they can sometimes get damaged. And when you start putting things too thick and then you have to put like a piece of paper to protect it, et cetera, et cetera. All right, now let's start layering up the card. I might put a piece of designer series paper behind for the back layer. So the question is, do I like this size or this size designer series paper? I think I'm going to go with the bigger piece. So one thing I will say about our dies, and Stampin' Up! Just does this because we are an international company. They're not quite, right, like a perfect 1/4 inch margin around the inside when you get these sort of decorative rectangles or sometimes these different frames dies. Because I think because they're going for like the international audience, it's kind of meeting in the middle between fitting on an A2 card perfectly and fitting on I guess what do we use in Europe, A4 cards or so. It's not gonna be like exactly the same margin around the outside, but it's still cool. Now you can fix that by running it back through the die like so. You know, like running it back through, like just to cut that one edge off and, you know, make it whatever size you want. But who's gonna go through all that? These are still really pretty. So we'll just go ahead and make some backgrounds for our card that just have a 1/4 inch little margin around the outside. I'm gonna maybe go for one that has an 1/8 inch margin and one that has a 1/4, just to kind of show you the difference. So we will go ahead and cut this little thing off because it's getting on my nerves, this little piece. All right. Now we're going to use these pieces here. We're going to say, all right, we're going to go and we're going to make this one 4 1/8. This will be the background on one of the cards. 4 1/8 by 5 3/4. because 5 1/4 would be what I'd normally do, but we're going to do one more extra a quarter. Or sorry, not 3/4. I don't mean 3/4. I meant 5 3/8. Because typically I usually do a mat that's 5 1/4, but this one will be 5 3/8. Meaning I'm just adding that extra eighth to my normal layering process. Let's go ahead and check this before I do the other one a little smaller. Okay, I'm liking it. Ooh, I'm even liking it with the stripes. You know, but the stripes are going to clash with all my Christmas pattern. So I think I'm going to just kind of flip it over and use that side. Okay, so this is what I have, an 1/8 inch around the edges, right? And here, I can write that down while I'm doing the next one. So these are for your DSP layers. The deckled rectangles, I already told you those measurements. Well, I didn't tell you the measurements, but they're up here. I use deckled rectangles. So we're going to say DSP. You could do 5 3/8 times 4 1/8, or, and I'll show you the difference. I'm going to do 5 1/4, which is what I typically do, by 4 inches, and we'll see what that looks like with this piece. Okay, 4 inches. It doesn't, when you have a pack of paper, it doesn't matter which patterns you use, because they all go with everything. That's what's so great about using a pack of paper. It's all coordinated by 5 1/4. And we'll see how that looks. See? It just gives you a bigger margin. So we'll do one of each, because we can. But let's make sure our rectangles still fit in there, to make sure that was what I had in mind. Not that one, but we use this other pattern. Ooh la la. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, let's see that one, and we're just pairing up what we've die cut earlier with these ones. You want to use these ones because you want to get, these ones show really well, these patterns. Okay, let's see. Do I like it better with the Christmas baubles on top of the shaded spruce, or do I like the Christmas baubles? Yep, I do like it better on the shaded spruce. That's a little too much pink, so we're going to go with that. And this one might be a little bit too much green. See? So I'm going to switch. I think this is too much green and that's too much pink. So I'm going to do this. These are the same exact rectangles, by the way. They're just being put on a different background. Yeah, so this is good. A good balance. A good balance. And now you're going to take your Seal Plus, in which case I actually used one of my fast fused to refill this Seal Plus. So you can put your old fast fuse, it's a retired item, into your Seal Plus container and it'll fit. When you run out of Seal Plus I did get some more, but I want to go ahead and use that up. All right, in case they're little bows, in case they stick out, even though they're probably not going to stick out, I'm still going to face them up. This side, it really doesn't matter which is up or down, because you can see the gingerbread men. Some of them are upside down and some of them are right side up. Now, this is what I mean, but we're still going to be professional. But look, even though I'm centering this perfectly, the rectangle still has a little bit different margin. It has a little bit bigger margins on the top and bottom than the sides, which is fine, because it's still, I'm not going to mess with the die anymore. I think it still looks good. All right, and we're going to check that card opens up from the top still, and we can go ahead and mount this. Now we're just layering up the card. Got to have layers on your card. Don't ever just stick your sentiment straight onto the cardstock. That's a rookie move. You got to put layers. You don't have to put this many layers. This is kind of an over-the-top amount of layers that I'm going to be using, but at least use one layer. So you could, let's say you're going to get away with doing a Christmas card, right? You need a minimum of one layer, and then your sentiment. Or this sentiment has a layer too. But you know what I'm saying? Just something like that would be good, but we're adding a couple extra layers. Okay, just sort of center it. Okay, and then so we have those extra 2 layers there. Let's see which one we put there, or we want to put this one there. Probably this one. Nope, this is too light. So this is light against the white. So I'm going to take this one because it's dark and put that against the white. Look what a difference that makes. The darker paper against the white versus the lighter paper against the white. So we're going to put this one on that card and this one on that card. See why I'm making 2 cards? It's part of my teaching process of showing you how when you make a couple cards at once, you have better, more informed design choices because you could say, you know, this or that. Okay, and then you're going to lay that there. Now, this one is the same. You're going to also use this for basic white. So you're going to put the white on the inside, 5 1/4 times 4 on the inside. But I'm not doing that for this video, but you would put a piece of white inside there and you could decorate it. We got to put some stars on here. And we're going to just put these on the card. Compare that. All right. Let's see if I want that to go like that or like that. I don't know. I think the swirls, it doesn't really matter. I think you're not really going to see the swirlies, which direction they go in. And sometimes I have to check if my card opens up the right direction, which it does. Okay, good. So you can see how I get my bucket of crafty goodness ready with all those extra deckled rectangles and how quickly I can put cards together, having all those extra pieces. You can cut three at once. In cardstock, you're only going to cut 2 at once through the die cutting machine with cardstock. You know, and basic white, you can cut 2 at once or a color. But designer series paper, you can cut 3 pieces at once. But if you have a little box die and you're trying to get score lines and you cut 3 at once, you might end up cutting all the way through the score line. So this one, I was just cutting a rectangle, so that's why okay to use 3 at once. Come on. Okay, good. This is some strong stuff, this fast fuse. I'm just going over the little part that ripped. Okay. Even though it's behind everything, you can't really see it. Let's embellish with some stars and be happy. We do either 3 or 5, some kind of odd number. You can use any kind of bling, but why not use this awesome bling? Because they're flat, they're iridescent, they're pretty awesome. And let's see how I did the others. I put one here, that was probably to cover a blob, and then a couple out on the paper. So let's see. Do I have any blobs to cover? No. I'm going to put one sort of up there, though, so you could see it. See? That's going to be the focal point one. And then since this is already busy paper, we'll just put the smaller ones out there to even it up. We'll put one over there. We'll put one over here somewhere. So we have an odd number. Put one. I'm just putting them on top of those dots because I don't want to cover up those pretty holly berries. And voila, we are done. Look at that. Look at that bling, what it added. It added a lot to that card, having some bling. For this one, we'll do over here. Okay, and let's see. I was going to put a little star like right on the little bulb there, one up there. This one I'm going to put 5 stars on because it's kind of plainer. The paper's a little bit more plain. Okay, we'll put another star. Put one down there at the bottom of that one. 2, 3, and I'll put a couple small ones. Put a star right in the middle of this little bauble here. So now we have 2 on the bottom and we need one on the top. To make it even here, we'll put a star right there. Ooh, how fun. And lots of bling when you turn it like that. Yay! Okay, so I'll show you some others from this. Clearing the deck. We got done that in plenty of time to show you other projects. So hello, Yvonne, Cheryl, Kathy. There were 2 Kathys. One Kathy was here before I even got here. Kathy P. And then Kathy M. got here too early. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Julie. Linda from StamPin and Create. Hello, Charlotte. B. Jackson. Yep. Okay, she puts her dies at a slight angle to get more even pressure. Okay, good idea. What she's talking about, this is B. I need to mention it because it's a great tip. The only reason I couldn't do that today is if I put them at a slight angle, my pattern wouldn't have been at the right angle, but because I had 6-inch paper. But what she's saying is put them at a straight angle like this, more even pressure. So that's a great tip. So if you can, put them at that kind of angle when you go through the machine. Great tip. I should have read the tips as we are broadcasting, but I have to go back later because I'm in the zone. Hello, Yvette and Hilda. Okay, Yvonne voted for with the outline, and so did Hilda. Hello, Susan, and Mary from Wyoming, and Marie, and Kay from Indiana, and Judy. Thank you. I like how you like the design process. Okay, put one in the O of Jolly. Okay, put one. Oh, that's a good idea. Now I got to add two more. So I'm going to put one in the O of Jolly. That's a great idea. Okay. Whoever said that idea, I like that. It puts a focal point. That's K. Thank you, Brooke. She mentioned the so she's saying put one in the O of Jolly. But when I do now, I have an even number. So that means I have to go with the. We got to move this one slightly over this way. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We got to do an odd number, right? Well, I don't know why we have to do an odd number, but we just do. Put one. I'm going to put one up higher up there and put one right here. So we have, see, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5. I just like to use odd numbers. But cool, it looks really cute in the O of Jolly. Well, good, good, good. Now I want to show you. These are the cards we started with. We did a good job kind of copying these cards. This is the one that had the outline. Now, the outline I did earlier when I was practicing wasn't quite as even as the one I did today on today's video. I think I could see why you voted that you liked the outline. And I don't know where the paper went. But the one I did earlier came out a little better today. And I don't even know where it's at. Come on, let me show you where it's at. Okay, I'm looking because I have only this little area I've been working on, and it's already gone. I don't know where it could have went to because I haven't gone anywhere. I've been standing in one spot the whole time. But I did stamp that, and it seemed to come out a little bit more even. Maybe it's on this one. Nope. Okay, how many more times can I look under the same piece of paper? Oh, you know what? It was on the back of one of the ones probably that I put on a card. Possibly. That's why I can't find it. But anyway, I do like it with the outline when it's even, and it comes out a little bit more even when you do. Okay, these don't have the outline on them. So you can see how you can use like different kinds of die cutting shapes to put these on. So I want to show you my little pile that I just had here of all my cards. Okay, I moved it off the table to it was on the floor. Nope, that was the one that didn't come out. Okay, here. This one came out a little better tonight, is what I'm saying, than in my sample, okay? In my sample earlier, I'd messed up, and it's still a cute card, and I love the card. I'm going to use it. And it kind of looks like it's supposed to be wonky, like I put each letter on separately. But the intention is supposed to be more like this, and this one came out pretty good. So that was the one I did that I messed up, and see, that one came out pretty good. So put this part down first, the outline down first with your stamp, and then put the solid part inside there. But later we'll be coloring those in with the blends. Anyway, some more cards. Let's keep going through. Okay, so you could add little extra things, like this is a pool party this little guy. So I'm just showing you different ways to kind of use your stamps in other ways. So add that. You could do Jingle All the Way. This is the same exact design, except I used just a regular square that I cut, a rectangle, should I say, a 1-inch strip of this DSP, and I used the stitched rectangle dies. So that's what I told you that's what I recommend for this. This one I added the little bulbs, and I think Wink of Stella. Yep, let me tilt that so you can see that there's Wink of Stella with the little glitter pen. So you could do the Believe in the Magic, same card we just made, just stitch rectangles, and then you put a little layer behind your stitch rectangle. Okay, and I'm going to be doing a Believe card that uses the snowmen as one of the complements to it. So we'll try to do something like this with some snowmen too, because I think that will look cute. Okay, here's some other ones I've just started. You see how I could just make these really quickly later because I've started them. Okay, just made all those template. Okay, me playing around with the jolly. Okay, here's me playing around with the stitch rectangles and things. Oh, I'm trying to play around with other designer series paper that I'll probably experiment with in this series, so we don't use the same kind of paper. I was thinking this one would be fun to use, Santa's Workshop. I already forgot the name of it. But it's the Santa paper we have. And I cut out a bunch of deckled rectangles with it, and I thought this will be good for some cards. Santa Express. Okay, Santa Express. I'm probably going to be using more in like these kind of patterns because I'm going to be layering them. See, I probably won't be using this side. There's just too much going on with that. But I'm going to be using this, like these sides for layering. Because I thought the fa la 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 would be cute for the backgrounds. Anyway, so I didn't get very far. I thought I had more cards to show you, but maybe I didn't get very far. Oh, I know, because Kathy made some. Okay. Here we go. So Kathy, my swapping buddy, I also swap with my team. Kathy's one of my crafty friends. She sent me this really cute bag. Maybe we'll even make a bag like this in this series. But look how cute. This is using the Celebrate Everything paper. Super cute bag, right? A bag and a tag and bewitching. She's bewitching. Okay, just showing you some of her cards that she made. Kathy Schmidt. See if she's here right now. She's usually here. Okay, after B said hi from the UK and Brooke from Florida. Let's see. Yvonne. Oh, yes. Uneven. Okay, Yvonne's saying the reason you do the odd numbers is it's more pleasing to the eye. See? So as a matter of fact, that's what Kathy did here. It's more pleasing to the eye, the design rules. Okay, here we go. That's what I wanted to show you. She made these really cool tag cards. So I think we could just do this part. We're going to use her idea or her card here for inspiration. We can make the tags with the "'Tis the Season to be Jolly." And then we could take the tags and put them onto cards as well. And I love the way she tied the double ribbons together. It's just beautiful. So this are those stitched little tags, dies. I love it in the sequins. Okay, look at the way she used the repeating pattern on this one. Isn't this awesome? Jingle, 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 jingle. I love that. With all the extra little sequins on there, the 5 little sequins. And look at the way she used some glimmer paper in the background. Super awesome. Okay, now in November, this is, what month is it? October. We're doing Jingle, Jingle, Jingle. In November, let me grab the stamp set. The theme of my workshop is Cheerful Basket. That's the theme in November. So this is what she used to make this card, Cheerful Basket. So we'll be using this. We'll do something like this in the series. I love it. I love the way she colored these apples with the blends. Just gorgeous coloring. The little bucket is adorable. Okay, this is something like Perched in a Tree. I believe it's called Perched in a Tree. I don't have this one, but how gorgeous is that with the glimmer paper behind it? So she did a whole bunch of awesome swaps with me. Oh, so adorable. I just got this stamp set in the stamp sale. I'm blown away with you. It's super cute. This is a fun fold card. I have to show you this card. I'll probably show you this better on the day when I show you my swaps from my team. But look at this fun fold. Oh! It's like a modified easel fold card. Like I'm doing easel fold cards for my swap. But this is a oh, it's on a wobble. Doggy's on a wobble spring. Oh, and there's wobbles. The link to Wobble Springs is in the description of this video. And then this one is a fun fold. This is wrapped. What is that called? Wrapped? Oh, North Pole Mischief. North Pole Mischief. So I like how you can pull that, and it's so cool. I love it. Oh, and she even embossed the background, the little part there. So this, I hope that was inspiring. These are the ones Kathy made. And then lastly, I want to show you the ones I made in World Card Making Day. So that was these were all using all different sets. North Pole Mischief, Blown Away, Cheerful Basket Bunch, Jingle, 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 and Bewitching. So I hope you understand how those were all made. Okay, this one, in World Card Making Day, there was a beautiful demonstration of the Warm Welcome Bundle by the creator herself, the designer who was also the achiever to create the set. So she was $1 million achiever, and she designed the set. She did the demonstration. I still have my little door mounted. We did lots of blending, and I made some doors, and then we made these little cards during World Card Making Day. So this is just one of the 3 demonstrations, but I created these cards. Let's get from the Warm Welcome Bundle, and I'm thinking December or January. Depends on if it's still available. December, I don't know if it's not. This might not be available until January because it was an early release. But if it's still available, I might do this as the December workshop. And if not, maybe in January because I really love this bundle. I might make that my workshop. I'll announce that soon. But so you could blend the background and then cut out your door. I just love it. The little coffee mugs, super cute. Let's get together. So these are little note cards I made with the fresh freesia backgrounds. And that's what she showed in her demo. And I changed the way the hearts were and added some Winkestella. Okay, and then I did a modified version of World Card Making Day with this one. I used the Timber 3D embossing folder and created that little etched background and just made the card bigger because I prefer A2 cards than over the note cards. But that is the same design. I did use her design and her color combination. So cool. Mint Macron and fresh freesia. I like the way she blended the door. I'm going to be using that some more. And then I put a little translucent little gem there. So, or she put a pearl on her door, but I used a little translucent one so you could still see the doorknob. You could still see the little dot where the doorknob was stamped. So I can't wait to make some more. Once I mounted this onto my stamping block and it cuts out perfectly with the die, I just wanted to leave it mounted on one of my blocks for now until I get some more stamped. And I'm working on my bucket of crafty goodness by cutting out a bunch of extra doors. And what's really cool is after you blend and you cut out your door, you have all these extra little rectangles that were the door that I can use for other things because they're already blended and then they're cut. And now you have a perfect rectangle for sentiments for other things, which I like. I like two for one. And I like these little die cut shape that was a little ticket. It looks like a little ticket. So if you missed World Card Making Day, there's a 3-hour presentation where they focus on 4 bundles. Warm Welcome was one of them. That's the only one I had. There's one that's coming out that they're giving you a sneak peek at how it was designed, fitting florets. And then there's 2 others, Cottage Rose and, oh, I forget what the other one was called. But there's another couple that are based on florals, and they did some coloring, and they did a great demonstration and a sneak peek of what's coming out. All right, so that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This is the Papered Chef. We'll see you again real soon. Thanks for coming, and I hope you subscribe if you're new to my channel because I do these shenanigans all the time. Bye.